Hi everyone, I'm Mixed Media Girl and welcome back. We're going to do another acrylic pouring video with the Little Birdie pouring paint and pouring medium. The first thing that we're going to go ahead and do is mix up our paint. I am going to use two colors for a background, and we're going to do a technique today called a string pull. So first, let's get the paint mixed up. I'm going to go ahead and put some white into this cup. And then I'm going to use a light blue in this cup. And this is just to make a pretty background. So once we've put the paint in the cups, I'm going to go ahead and add some of the pouring medium. And this is just to improve the fluidity of the paint so that it is pretty easy to pour it. I'll go ahead and get that all stirred in. We want a consistency that is not too watery, but it should move pretty easily across the canvas. So go ahead and add as much pouring medium as you need to get that right consistency. Need a little more here. The white seems to be fine. And that now pours nicely off my stick. So we're going to go ahead and do the background. For this technique, you want very little paint for your background. So I'm going to go ahead and use a larger cup, and I'm going to pour these two colors in here. These are both pretty light colors, but I'm going to layer them. For this canvas size, I would normally need about 5 ounces of mixed paint, but because of the technique we're doing, I need less than that. I want a really thin background. If you have a background that's too thick, this technique really does not work very well. So I'm only using maybe about 3 ounces of paint. All right, I'm going to go ahead and do an acrylic pour technique called a tree ring. I'm going to start right in the middle, and I'm going to move my cup in just a little bit of a circle. Get all the paint out. And then I'm going to tilt it until it covers the entire canvas. And I'm going to be running off quite a bit of this so that we have a really thin background. I cannot stress how important that really thin background is. Okay, great. That is a nice light, delicate background. I've already picked out my colors for the next technique. I'm going to be using some bolder colors. I have some plum orchid here that I am going to lay down. I have parchment paper underneath here. And then I'm going to use some of this pink tango. Nice bright colors that will contrast with that lighter background. I'm going to go ahead and take, this is a ball chain as if from a necklace, and I'm going to dip that into this paint off on the side. I'm going to make sure that it gets fully covered. You want this chain to be long enough that it can go back and forth several times on your canvas. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be making a beautiful flower. So I am going to zigzag this across the canvas, and then I'm going to have an end hanging out on this side. Now, without pulling it up at all, I'm going to pull this chain straight towards me. And check that out. We now have a beautiful, very simple flower. I'm going to go ahead and add another flower on here. Before I do that, I'm just going to take a paper towel and just wipe off the chain, just so it doesn't have too much of that blue paint on it. And I'm going to dip it back in the same pink paint over here. I think I'm going to actually add a little bit more of the plum color. Definitely suggest wearing gloves for this if you're messy like me. All right, I'm gonna zigzag maybe a little bit smaller over here. The smaller or the bigger that you zigzag, the smaller or the bigger your flowers will be. So over here I did a really big one. Over here I'm doing smaller. So it's gonna be a bit of a smaller flower. A little bit different shape. And there you go, a string pull technique. Now I'm pretty happy with this one over here, but I think I wanna actually go over it one more time. It's just my own personal preference. You can add as many of these flowers as you want or as few. I have done some of these paintings that look really gorgeous with just one flower. Totally up to you. There's not really a right or wrong. Just have fun with it. There we go. Now one last thing that I like to do on this is I like to take a stick and take whatever color I was doing the string pull with, and I'm going to go ahead and just add some really pretty lines. Just adds a little bit more interest. Maybe as if you were doing some flower petals. You can even add in some petals there. Or, you know, maybe there's some leaves. Just adds a little bit more to the painting. Definitely not required, but I think that makes it pretty darn cool. All right, let's go ahead and do a close-up on this piece so you can see all the details of it. This is the lower right-hand corner. You can see our beautiful large flower design, and you can see both of those pink colors in there with a nice delicate background. Over here, the smaller flower. This is such a fun and easy technique. Gets you a beautiful picture every time. All right, everyone, I really hope you enjoyed this. Thank you for watching this video. Make sure that you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Check out all of the materials in the description and stay tuned for future acrylic pouring videos.